Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I had a meet this past weekend and I know it's almost the middle of the next week. I had been delaying actually recording this because I've been, a little on the sick side, so I've been trying to catch up on sleep and I didn't want to make a video for you guys where I'm coughing and sneezing all the time. But I think I'm finally on the healthy side, so I was like, I'll go ahead and do it. I had a decent day, but I'll show you in just a second. I know during the in-between indoor and outdoor season, there was at least one topic I didn't get to, and I mean, it's the same reason. I did not feel the greatest. I had tons of sinus pressure and everything that went with it. Everything year was in pain. So, anyway, I do plan to talk about the topic in particular is training, and I do plan to talk about it. I started putting some materials together to facilitate a conversation on it, but I just never got to actually record that video. And also one of the questions was how to handle the in between the indoor and the outdoor season, and well, I spent 8 days in bed, so I wouldn't say that I followed a training plan exactly in between indoor and outdoor season. I'm doing the same thing I did towards the beginning of indoor season, where I'm increasing my workouts back up to what should be normal for this time of year and getting my check marks on my way through. And actually, for the meet this past weekend, my teeth didn't hurt, which was fantastic, so I could actually go through some motions in the air and land, in a safe spot on my back without being so in pain. So I was very happy about the fact that I could jump rather than really judging myself super hard on, how high I went or what it looked like. And I mean, here, we'll go ahead and I'll show you. Do you see all of this? It's not that bad in this angle, but everything is wet here. And yeah, that's because it was raining so hard. The original plan was that both the javelins were going to go, their runway is right here. And then the men's high jump, and then the women's high jump. So that means that at 11 a.m., javelin, the next javelin, men's high jump, women's high jump, we might not have been jumping until 5 p.m. So by then, it would have been not, well, actually, it rained off and on throughout the day. So it's maybe it didn't matter what time of day it was going to be. But over here towards, yeah, you can see the puddles here. Yeah, those puddles while we were warming up were about an inch deep throughout the entire approach pretty much. So to say that I completely trusted my approach would be a lie, because yeah, it was tough running through some of those puddles. I tried, but I didn't want to kick up the speed, but also, sure, I think the high was 60 to 65, but it was also raining. It wasn't a freezing cold rain, but it was definitely not a warm day. There was no sun. There's puddles everywhere. And then also, yeah, I was can I even go through the air and land on my back? And this is the first time, because there's 27 of us in the competition, that I actually got to go over a bar and land like that, because, I mean, when they were doing warm-ups, they wanted it 4'6" or 5 foot or something, so it's that doesn't really do much for me. I have a hard time pretending to do the stuff over the bar whenever it's at 4'6". If I'm going to be honest, that's tough for me. So instead of doing that stuff, I just did, pop-ins, picked up my legs and just kind of soared through the air over it. I didn't traverse in the normal high jump bar mechanic form. All right, whatever. Anyway, I would say that even with all of that, we'll play them out normal. The ones that I did well on, I had a good takeoff, as far as when the toe gets put down and when the toe gets taken off. I just had really good positions in that. And then whenever it was that I missed the bar, it seemed like I didn't run off the ground, I think is the way that my coach likes to put it. But it's yeah, I just don't think that I had as great of a takeoff position, and my peak over the bar kind of changed around. But here, we'll play and then we'll discuss. Okay, so right through here, everything seemed pretty chill. Everything was smooth, the straight to the curve. There's no changes in stride length. There's no, everything is just keeping everything in line. And like, yeah, okay, so that's a decent, I think that arm is early, but whatever. Again, I'm just so happy that I was able to jump. I don't really care that much about form. And I think this bar is like a high 1.6 bar, so it's like 168 maybe. So getting through the air and just going inverted and landing, I was just so happy. I was like, I don't hurt, I'm not in pain, this is fantastic. So then, let's go to the next one. I think I had a miss, but yeah, okay, so I don't know if you saw that, but right there, right towards the end where it goes 9-10, there's a bit of a step out on it. Let me pause it. So it's like on this one, like, oh my gosh, that puddle looks so scary, and I'm like right at it, but then I feel like this step 9 is kind of a step out, so that would affect the takeoff positions drastically. And then with it, it's like I almost had it, but like there's no opening to get my hips to the other side. Yeah. All right, so 62, I think this should be a low 1.7 bar, so maybe the 173, I think. So with it as well, it's like, I feel like it's a decent push out of the back, nice curve running, and then you see that weird step out. Yeah, I need to fix that. That's gonna just trash everything I do. So that definitely needs to be fixed. After that, like I had more height on that one, but I still just couldn't get my hips to the other side of the bar. Now, this should be a clearance. Yeah, okay, now let's see. Did I still do that terrible? Yeah, see, it wasn't near as bad. It's like, the other ones, it's like a huge step out. That one is still on the curve, so that's going to set up my takeoff a whole lot better. And then after that, it's like, yeah, I've got an excellent drive knee. I've got a straight line. Yeah, I'm like, it may be 3 inches off the ground, maybe 6 inches off the ground, whatever. But I've still got a really good straight line all the way up. Like, I'm not trying to lean in already. My arm is going up. My knee is going up. Like, that takeoff position is really nice. And then what that does for me is, like, not only gets it high enough, but it actually pushes my hips to the other side of the bar because I'm not just traveling down the bar and then falling on it. I'm actually traversing to the other, well, yeah, traveling to the other side. Like, we're getting into the pit before I come down, which is different than the other 2 bars because I just dropped on it. And I'm fairly certain that it has a lot to do with that step right there. Step 9, that one, I didn't realize it was so bad, but that's okay. Again, I was just so happy to be jumping rather than how high or whatever. These puddles were scary. All right, so let's check this one out. So this would be like a mid, I think they went up by 3 at this time, so this might be 176. For the collegiate girls, I think this matched the highest PR, so I think that's why they went with it. I don't know, I didn't really make the progression. I was just like showing up. Okay, so like that step, I mean, it's not great whenever it is you see the reach out to the side and the long leg. But it wasn't as bad as some of the previous bars. But it looks like I really just didn't jump high enough, if I'm honest. It was probably cold. Who knows? Again, I'm not judging myself too hard for like how high I jumped at this meet. It was really just, am I healthy enough to jump? Because I wanted to get those check marks so that way maybe hopefully I can travel to some farther away meets. Going from how sick I was to getting out of bed, Alright, so this is my second attempt at 176. And let's check out, it's like, it looks as if I've got a really nice lean on the curve, which is surprising because of where the puddle is. Like, this was like kind of when my anxiety rose for this puddle thing. I don't jump in the rain very often, if I'm honest. I'm like an indoor athlete who gets shoved outside too early. I'm not ready for it. And then whenever the sun comes out, then I'm like, all right, now I'm an outdoor athlete. But those late March, early April track meets, yeah, that's tough for me. I don't like rain. I don't like heavy winds. I don't like cold. All right, so on this one, like, honestly, it looks as if I might have just, like, draped in. Like, maybe I was a little far away. I don't know. But, like, it seems like my first angle was you need to go at the pit rather than you need to go up. So it's like I definitely had more height, but I don't think that I started off this right here the best I needed, because like you can see this straight line up and then it starts to angle a little bit and my arm is already kind of angled, so like everything up here is like I want to go in at the bar, so of course I'm going to be changing my natural parabola a little bit to be wrapping around where my arms are. So that was close though. Okay, so then the last jump of the day, of course it was a miss. All right, let's take a look. So what we were seeing earlier was like, you know, it's excellent out of the back. The start of the curve seemed nice. I've got a good lean. Everything is set up really well. It's like the puddle compared to earlier today, it's not as bad. Like, it's not as bad. It did start to get a little bit better. My shoes were soaking wet. One of my friends did some photos. Oh my gosh, that's such a bad step. Anyway, one of my friends did some photos and he's got a really nice camera and you can see all the water droplets being like flung off of my shoes while I'm like in the air. So it's just like scattered water droplets everywhere. There's another photo where you can see like lines of water coming off of my shoes as I'm like flinging my feet around in the air. It's crazy. Anyway, back to finish this. Yeah, that's a pretty wild outside step. I really need to get that in line. That needs to be fixed. I didn't realize how prevalent it was, but also with, again, how I'm feeling, maybe that'll just go away whenever I feel better. Just off the ground a little bit, we've got a straight line up, and then it's not as bad of an angle in as the previous one, right? My arm is still kind of on the up angle rather than the in angle, so I like that. But then knee drive, yeah, I had height, and then I fell on it. So usually I say if you can get your lower back over it, you can get the rest of your body over it. And it's like, I do agree. There's probably a bit of just not following through with the rest of the, you know, shoulders back, hips up, knees up kind of thing. I do feel like I'm being pretty efficient with my jumps. It's just a matter of, you know, getting healthy and getting back to being strong and being able to run fast and push through all of the curve and not get to the part where it's like, oh, I need to fix where my takeoff is going to be and I need to navigate to where it needs to be, because that is just going to trash this takeoff. But I think that's all of them. So okay, so that was, like I said, this past weekend. So the plan for this week was to lift again. So Monday was running. We were going to do this Killer Greek workout, which I'd never heard of, but Coach really wanted to do it. But then it was frigid outside, so we went inside, and he's like, oh, we need long runways for this. So instead we ran 6 100s, I think. And last week we ran like 4 200s. And I kid you not, like the first one was okay. Second one I was like, what's going on here? This doesn't feel normal. I mean, I was sick, so whatever. And then by my third one, I am dying. But that's when I realized, like, oh, once I start running, I can't breathe through my nose. Everything is mouth breathing. Everything in and out is through my mouth. No wonder this is tough. So this past Monday, going from that, like, you know, where the fourth one is like, please just get to the finish line and still be alive. So this week, when I ran 6 100s, that was more just, can I do this? So I started the first one off maybe a little easy. Like the girls I was running with, they're fantastic. They're great runners, don't get me wrong. But my goal was to finish within like maybe 1 second behind them. So like 2-ish, maybe 3-ish strides right behind them. So we got out, and that was my whole goal during basically the first one. And I was like, yeah, no, that felt right. So that didn't feel like I was overdoing it. It didn't feel like I was underdoing it. So that just became my goal for all 6 of them. And I kept up on all 6 of them. So I was like, hey, this is good. Maybe I'm feeling good again. Maybe I'm healthy. So that led into, okay, I'll lift this week. I'm not going to do a big lift, like a big squat day, a big Olympic lift day. I'm just going to do 2 days of a bodybuild lift. It's more like leg extensions, leg curls, back hypers, and calf raises. Right, so it's kind of more of the auxiliaries rather than the Olympic lifts. And by Olympic lifts, it's like a full body lift, right? Like whenever it is you squat, you've got it on your back, and it's like the whole body has to move in order to do the exercise. And then for auxiliaries, it's like leg extensions, right? Where you're sitting in that machine and you just move your legs back and forth. So I'm just doing 2 days of auxiliaries versus 2 days of auxiliaries and an Olympic lift day. So I'm hopeful to pick that up next week whenever I have my check mark of, yeah, I can run. Yes, I can lift. Yes, I can jump. So next week should be my first full lifting, full running, full jump week. I am glad that I have the luxury of stepping into it a little slower rather than trying to push myself too fast, too soon. Because, yeah, if you're sick and you push yourself a little too much, you might find yourself back to being sick. And I know that that's probably the reason why I was in bed for 8 days, was because, every couple days or so, I'd be like, oh, I'm feeling good. Let me get out of bed and do XYZ. And then the next day I would feel worse. It was awful. But anyway, feeling good. Everything's good. This next week, yeah, I'm just going to try to finish out the week, increasing my load for lifting. And, oh, right, I'm hopeful that I have a track meet this weekend. I have entered in a track meet. They haven't been exactly the most communicative, so it's like, who knows? I'll find out when I guess they post the entries. I mean, it would have been nice if they would have at least emailed me to say, I've received your email. So that way I wouldn't wonder if they even whatever. Anyway, if I don't get into that meet, then I'm going to take the weekend off, mainly because there's no other track meets in the area. I scoured the World Athletic calendar, and if I'm not in this meet, then the next closest is still at least a 3-hour drive, maybe a 3.5-hour drive from here. I think Missouri might be the next closest, like St. Louis, I think, which, like I said, is like a 3.5-hour drive. So yeah, if I don't make it into this one, take the weekend off. Still don't know what I'm going to do next weekend, but I think I have the rest of my schedule planned, because I'm planning to go back to the ISU home meets for the Gibson Invite and the Sycamore Open. And then this year, which is unlike most of the previous years, I'm going to go back to Drake, or at least I hope to go back to Drake. And I'd also want to go to the Jesse Owens Classic. So that's in Columbus, Ohio. So it's like, yeah, I kind of have a decent framework for the rest of the season, but just to start the season off, yeah, it's I don't like rain, I don't like cold, I don't like wind, so what am I going to do? So yeah, once April really gets going, I got some meets, it should be fine. I don't know what I'm going to do after the May 9th meet, because that's whenever all of the NCAA tournaments start happening, which means there's no meets. There's no college meets that an unattached individual can get into in the United States for the most part. There are a handful of meets scattered, and it's really occasional, and it might be where I'm jumping with 60-year-olds, but none of those meets would likely be on the World Athletic calendar. So this season has a bit of uncertainty at various parts and then certainty at other parts, and as I get healthy and get back into it, I think it's going to be a really fun outdoor season. I have been looking forward to outdoor season, especially with how sick I was during indoor season. I'd like to crawl out of that being sick and being healthy. All right, everyone. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.